everyone, and welcome to the Doctor Music Podcast once again, where I have members of Night Laser sitting with me. I have Benno Hankers and Robert Hankers. Night Laser is a traditional hard rock metal band, and we'll talk about that description. They are from Hamburg, Germany. Their latest album, "Call Me What You Want," which is their fourth overall, comes out on May 24th, this Friday, on the Steamhammer SPV label. And guys, I'm so happy to have you here. Thanks.
Thank you so much for having us. It's a pleasure.
Yeah, Scott, thank you very much. Nice to be
You
here.
got it, man. I say traditional hard rock heavy metal band. How's that sit with you guys?
I'd say that's all right.
It kind
Thing is,
of
thing,
hits the
thing is
spot.
that, yeah, thing is, it's not really narrowing it down. So that actually is quite fitting, I would say.
Okay.
Even though, since you opened up that topic, the whole album is a little bit about how do you call us as a band? How do you call our style? And we have a hard time doing that ourselves. So we
And
always
that's
like it when
good.
somebody else does it.
Well, I think that's good, because I think a lot of bands that you get pigeonholed into certain, especially now. I mean, everything is just so
Sure.
finely dissected.
Yeah.
It used to just be rock,
Yeah.
and now, there's a billion different things that, and everybody wants to put you in a really small box. And I don't think your music really goes into any small box. It's pretty diverse. And I came up. I'm old school. It's a heavy metal band. It's a fun rock and roll, hard rock, heavy metal band.
Yeah.
I really appreciate it. It's pretty cool. Now the band, the sound and the image remind me a little bit of like a Steel Panther sometimes, or old Van Halen. The darkness was another thing that kind of came up.
Oh, yeah.
So, is there a particular band that inspired you guys, or a series of bands that inspired you to take up this kind of music?
There's plenty, to be honest, and not by far not all of them are glam metal bands. It's funny that you bring up Steel Panther because that happens quite a lot, especially with regards to our former records, which were a lot more like very glamish attitude-wise. I think I would say we've moved on from this quite a lot, and we have got a lot of influences by now that you recognize yourself as well. There's like a lot of hard rock and yeah, even kind of like extreme vibes going on, I would say. But regarding the major and first influences from my point of view, that would have been the classic traditional and power metal bands like Iron Maiden, for example, or Halloween. Those are, to me, quite obvious influences from my side. Manowar maybe as well.
Yeah.
Benno, how about you?
Yeah, the thing with Steel Panther, it's always something that people pick up first regarding the looks because we do have a little bit of this glam and sleaze apparel. We got the big hair, we got the makeup, the spandex, the studs, the leather, all that kind of stuff because we think that it's very important for a band to offer something for the eyes as well when
Right.
you go and see the concert. You want to be entertained on all the levels but the music is much more than that, and it's hard to say. It's all the bands that Rob just said, and then there's so much more depending on who you ask in the band. Some would say Toto, some would say Nightwish, some would say Tesla. It's you can go all over the spectrum of metal bands and rock bands, and you find it all.
Well, and
Just
that's the beauty of it, man. And I hear all of those little things, and more. And I want to talk about the strings on this record,
oh
'cause
yes,
that is, man, that just made it all worth the trip for me, man. It just is really, really great on this record. Yeah, and it is different from the other three records. It seems to be going in a different direction a little bit. But before we get into that, how'd you come up? Did you have music in your schools? That's an issue here in the States. Music in the schools, not like in Europe. You guys are well educated in the arts usually. and that's a beautiful thing. My son was a music student here in college as a teacher, and he went over to Germany and Austria, and the whole thing is very different. So, did you guys come up with formal lessons and lessons in school and learn to play like that?
That as well, yes. I mean, music. How do I say it? Musical lessons in school are mandatory in Germany. You got that right. At least for some time. You can decide not to do it later on, but like a basic musical understanding, everybody has to go through during school. But apart from that, we had, or I'm gonna speak for myself, Ben. I'll let you add in on yourself afterwards. I had musical lessons, yes, but not in the instrument that I'm playing today. I took flute in the beginning, like many people do, many kids mostly. Later on, I learned to play the clarinet for more than 10, 15 years. And the bass playing that I do now in the band, that is like, how would you say, autodidactory? Like I taught it myself mostly.
Yeah, yeah.
Right. Yeah.
Well,
Um,
yeah, from that, the classical training on the other instruments really opens up your world, to so many different possibilities.
Absolutely. I think Benno experienced kind of the same journey. You started out with, yeah,
Well, with flute. Well,
flute. Yeah.
the
Okay.
thing is, we come from a little bit like from a musical family. Our parents, our father used to play the guitar. They both sang in a church choir. Our mother used to play the flute as well, and so we started like very early. It was important for our parents that we got some sort of education, so we both took on the flute. Later on, I was with the Boy Scouts, where I learned to play the guitar and learned to sit at a campfire and sing.
Yeah,
Um, and later on, I discovered an old drum set in the church where we were located with the Boy Scouts, and I bought it for 50 euros, put it in my parents' basement, and started drumming by myself. Now I took lessons too. And vocals followed up later on. It's like um, just because somebody said he liked my voice and he invited me to sing. And then I started taking lessons, and this took on for like I don't know when did I start singing, 2010 or so, maybe like 15 years now with regular coaching. So I do take a lot of lessons for singing.
yeah,
You're quite a piano player as well.
Oh yeah, and piano. Yeah, I forgot about that. Yeah, I wanted to play the piano, and I took lessons for piano for a while. Yeah,
yeah,
so a
yeah.
lot of coachings going on there.
Yeah. See, and that it shows, that I asked that question specifically because I can tell, I can tell there's a professionalism to the way you play and sound, and this isn't rookie hour,
Thank you.
you
Thanks.
guys are clearly good at what you do, and I wish we had mandatory music here in our country. That is a wonderful, wonderful thing, and please do what you can to keep that active in your schools and stuff, because we get this kind of product from that. People who are advanced in the arts and provide great pleasure, entertainment for people, and it's a great thing. um, Big advocate for that. The press
Understandable, yeah.
release the press release mentions that you made quite a few changes, some new band members, new producer. It's mixed a little bit different. How do you feel that contributed? Is it more serious? I mean, is serious a bad word? How has the music changed?
I wouldn't say serious. I would say mature, maybe, because when you would have been at the recording sessions, it wasn't serious at all. We laughed our asses off. Like it was a hard time really because what you talked about the producer, which is Dirk Schlechter of Gamma Ray, and a perfectionist to the maximum, and I mean it in a very positive way. He made us repeat the lines over and over and over again until they were perfect. And still, we had a lot of fun and we joked around a lot. So it's not serious, but it's mature. We we wanted to do things more, to consider more of art than we ever did before.
Yeah.
And that also took a lot of time.
And I think the overall process was a lot more. It was a lot different to the approaches we had to the albums before, because this time we didn't like rent a studio and had limited time to complete the album, like 2 weeks maybe. That's how we did it in the past. But we took several months to record the album piece by piece. We did the drums at one studio, then a lot of the instruments at our rehearsal room. Some guitar tracks were recorded at home. And during the whole process, Dirk supported us. He went with us and gave us input and perfected every single aspect of the recording process. That was a very, very, contributing experience.
Ah, that's good. Now, is he the type of producer that will tell you, hey, we need to move this here and that there. We need to add a guitar solo here. We need to add a verse. Is he going to change the structure of the music a little, or is he just going to take what you have and make it sound great?
He did both, actually.
Yeah.
Both? Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's
It depends on the song, right? For some songs, when we play them to him first, he was like, yeah, that's about right. It's like bits and pieces in the end, like do a scream here and do a drum fill there, maybe that. But at some point, he was like, for example, when he said for some songs, you can't do that hook line. It sounds like rubbish. And the lyrics are weird too. Write something new. We're not recording that. And I went home and we called it a day. And I sat down and I had to rework the song. And in the end, I'm so grateful for that, because he really knows his stuff about music, and what we came up with in the end is so much better than like what comes to mind first sometimes.
Right.
And he was also very good at identifying the individual strengths and weaknesses of us.
Yes.
So we went to the studio and he was like, okay, I see what you're doing, I see what you're trying to do, but I see that it's not quite what you are best at. So maybe try changing your process, try it this way, and then the outcome was much better than previously.
That's great. And that takes a lot of trust from you guys.
Sure.
You come in with your baby, I wrote this and this is precious and, it's ready to go. And, to have somebody say, no, it's not ready to go. It's not very good. We need to change some things. That can be, that can be rough. To put that trust in somebody's hands, to know that they're doing something that's better for you, that's a great collaboration to have for sure.
Sure. Yeah.
I think that's also because we are huge fans of Dirk's work anyway, and we know what he's capable of doing. And so, and also we are, I would say we are open to any kind of inputs. When somebody has an idea, we just try it out. And I was talking about art early on, but we are not artists in a way that we are like self-centered and egomaniacs that want everything to be just the way we want it to. It's a team effort. The whole thing is just one big teamwork. So yeah,
that's great. That's great. That's always productive. I think that's it's a great way to think. How's the writing work for the band? Do you have a particular one or two guys come in, write the music, and then everybody falls in place? Is it a whole 4, 5, 6 guys with Dirk get together, write it all? Is it that collaborative? How's it work for you guys?
Well, it has changed in the past. Our initial first 3 records were mostly exclusively written by our former guitarist. For the new one, for Call Me What You Want, we had a completely different approach, and a lot of the work comes from Benno, since he's the singer. He wrote a lot of the lyrics as well. But it has been a collaboration of all participants, of all members of the band. And usually it was 1 or 2 or maybe 3 people getting together with the initial first idea, and then the whole team evolving from there. Benno, maybe you can say more, because you wrote like a lot of the music as well.
Yeah.
That pretty much covers it. It's like 1, 2, 3 guys getting together, or maybe also just one person in the home studio just recording something. And we had just one rule, like in the beginning. It's like when you come up with something, just prepare to have it altered by everybody else involved.
Yeah.
You bring something to the rehearsal room, and 99% of the times there's going to be changes to it, and everybody was cool with that. And so what we did was like we had like a structure of songs, brought it to the rehearsal room, and just started playing them over and over and over and over again. And that's when it really starts to fall into place, because that's when you get like those nice ideas, like do a little, I don't know, like a little breakdown here, a little pause there, whatever.
Yeah.
Um, because you don't really come up with that stuff when you just sit down and write. You need to like have the whole band experience that kind of feeling, to
Yeah.
have a groove.
I think that's what makes a band as opposed to, a solo artist.
Yes.
You're getting a little bit of everybody in these songs, maybe one guy writes the root of it, but you get little pieces of everybody, and it's flavorful that way for sure.
Yeah,
Uh,
absolutely. Yeah, and it would be a shame if we had done it another way because the individual members of our band, they bring such a broad spectrum of influences and variety, which yeah added up perfectly
yeah,
to yeah very
yeah, it's a
yeah.
great sound. It's a great sound. Travelers in
Thank you.
Time, like Fiddler on the Roof, some strings. I love these strings, man. This just really set the whole thing off for me. Fiddler on the Roof, especially, a very different song for the band. I'm going to say serious side, mature side,
Yeah.
uh, than the previous material. Was it ever a concern doing a song like that that the former fans, the fans of the earlier stuff might not get it?
No, I don't think so. We did have on our first record, Fight for the Night, we did have a song called Wrecked, which was, I think, 7.5 minutes long and has like a darker vibe to it too.
Hmm.
And at some point, we tried that one live, and it was so much fun to have this time to build up a story on stage, and people loved it. And at some point, we were like, we can do better than that. And so we started writing the song, and it came out at almost 10 minutes in the end. And it was just the amount of time that the whole song needed. And when we were talking about calling it Fiddler on the Roof, it was absolutely clear that we needed a violin on that. And we had a friend who plays the violin. Also, like all the strings, the keyboards, the synthesizers, everything on the album is real. So we had like a guy who owns 20 real 80s synthesizers. He has a huge studio with it, and he played them all by hand,
Yeah.
which is, and you can listen to that and you can hear that.
Yep. Yeah. Oh, that's what I'm saying. These are strings. This is not
Yes,
keyboard strings. These are
it's
actual
actual string.
strings. You can hear the vibration of the string, and there's
Yeah.
the keyboards can sound great. You can really do a lot of things, but man, to have this and there's, serious strings on here.
It was also a musical influence as well, since we did not tell them to play a specific line or melody, like except for the major theme of Fiddler on the Roof, but all the other instruments you can hear, like strings and keyboard wise and so. It's just well, I wouldn't not necessarily improvising, but we let them to explore themselves freely and add the way they felt right to contribute to the song.
Yeah. So it's a little bit of them in with this song. Yeah. I
Yeah,
mean, it's a
Exactly.
beautiful thing. What a great song. It's a
thank you so
cornerstone
much.
for me. It really, really is something. And a lot of the Vulture. Another song that stands out for me, for a couple of reasons. Again, more serious, not a fun song necessarily. But the entire second half, that killer guitar solo, just great. And I know that you've changed some members and stuff. Tell me about the song and how that came together. Did it feel a little bit different for you to write that one?
Yeah, that is the song was like most of it was written by Vincent, one of our new guitar players who joined the band in 2022 when we needed, on a very short notice, we needed a guy to step in for a European tour. And we knew him from a few years earlier, and he stepped in, and it was just great. So he stayed. And he's like the one who's more about symphonic metal, like the proper power metal stuff. And so he came up with that. And in the beginning, I hated the song because it was very hard to for me. It's hard to come up with a vocal line for a song that is written from a guitarist kind of perspective. It's like I wouldn't do it like that. And at some point, it started to work out. In the end, it's one of my favorite songs on the record
Yeah.
for the exact same reason. It just keeps like climbing and getting better and bigger and bigger and bigger. In the end, it's got this huge climax, and
Yeah.
I absolutely love it. And his guitar work is outstanding on this one.
Oh yeah. Yeah. I mean, I was blown away. And that's, and like I say, that's the second half where that guitar
Yeah,
work really kicks in. I'm listening to the first half and I'm like, this is just a great song, and then that whole guitar thing kicks in. It's like, wow, this is, it's like a masterpiece. This is a really great song.
it always really reminds me of "On Every Street" by Dire Straits, if you know that one, which is like just like two verses that you think, oh no, it's nice, but in the end, there's this huge long guitar solo that just keeps getting better.
Yeah. Well, and the thing is that it's not separate. It's part of
Yeah,
the song. It is all about the song, and it's not like, okay, we stop doing what we're doing. He's gonna have his break and his solo, and then we're gonna end it. It's part of the song. It's got
yeah.
a beautiful flow. It's just a great feature in that song. Really, another one. Great. It really
Thank you.
stands out to me. Really stands out to me. And here's another one that really stands out to me, and I think there's a story, and it's something comical. I think Uber Alman, right?
Yeah.
That one
Another
gets
song.
always mentioned, yes.
Yes.
It's pretty different, especially for a Yank. You know, I enjoy it. I don't understand it a little bit, um, but tell me about that song. It's the band having fun, for sure.
Yeah.
Uh, does the song have a meaning to you? Is it a traditional? Is it based on something like that? Tell me about that song. It's interesting for me as an American.
Um,
That
yeah, it is based on I've Been Everywhere by the original one is by Jeff Mack. He's an Australian guy. And it got really famous when Johnny Cash did it. Like he's just listing all the places where he's been. And we did the same thing. Like in the end, when we were recording the drums in the end of the session, we still had time left. And our producer, Dirk, was like, so should we record something extra? Because everything was set up, all the mics were in place. We just like, what do you want to do? And we brainstormed for like 10 minutes and I was like, let's do this. And I'll write down all the places that we played in. So it's all city names,
Hey,
um, like all just listed. And in the end, we were like, okay, let's try to make it sound a little bit more heavy metal in the end. So it starts off with this country kind of flair. And in the end, we got something that's a little bit inspired by the end of Painkiller by Judas Priest.
yes.
So and that's what we want to do. It's just having fun, and also I'm a huge country fan, so I always wanted to do a little bit of a country song. So
Ah, that's cool. That is
what I
and
really
this
found.
one
Yeah,
always gets mentioned every interview we do. People pick on
yeah,
that. What's the deal with Uber Alman?
I
that
love
stands
it.
out apparently.
Yeah.
I
What I
mean,
found very impressive, we played a show last year, at the end of last year, and Benno actually performed the song live. So all the lyrics, all the cities, he memorized it and sang it
It's
by
such
heart. It's
such
really,
a
really hard.
pain in the ass. Such a pain in the ass.
It's great, man. And I loved it because it was clear that you guys have fun. Yeah, and it's a fun band. Like this a little more mature album. It's not doesn't have the same fun themes that maybe the other ones have. But this was that hint that we're still fun guys. We're still a fun band. We like to have fun. Don't take it too seriously, you know.
And you always see that when you go and watch us at a concert. We are smiling non-stop and we're hugging each other on stage and we're just joking around the entire time because we just a bunch of dudes. They're just enjoying the ride. That's all.
That's great, man. Great. And I'm enjoying watching you guys. I hope to see it live. Touring the US. Is that something that you want to do? Is that something that is in the works? Tell me about that.
It would be absolutely amazing to do that. It's just that it's very, very expensive for a rather unknown band to do anything in the United States, right? With the long distances that we're not used to. And yeah, we will try to make it happen. Our new guitar player comes from Colombia, so there's an option to go there. And it's kind of the thinking like, okay, when we are over anyways, we might just as well head up to the States. It's not quite next door neighbors, but yeah, who knows?
Yeah, that would be great. That would be great. I'm in the Chicago area here, and I'd love to come see you guys somewhere else. I'd love to travel. So, yeah, and I mean, you mentioned Colombia, and places in South America and things like that really embrace the type of music that you play. So there's only great roads ahead for you guys. That's for sure. So, where anybody who's interested in the new record, where can we go to order the record? Where can we see tour dates, and info about Night Laser? Where can we find it?
Well, ordering the album for now is through our label, SPV Records. I think they are partnered with Napalm for the United States, so they would be the go-to address.
There'll be a link.
Perfect.
There will be a link. Yep.
And on top of that, we have a band homepage, of course, as well. It's currently still being in the makeover process, but should be done like tomorrow, hopefully. www.nightlaser.de, and we will post tour updates and all the pre-sale links and whatnot on there as well.
Great. Yeah, I was going to mention that, but I saw that it was a little bit outdated.
Yeah.
I didn't know if you had a
We're
new
working on
page.
that.
Awesome.
We've got
Awesome.
a lot to work on at the same time at the moment.
Yeah.
So
Yeah. Not enough hours in the day, man. Yeah, there'll be a link to that too. Yeah, let's get the word out, and people need to hear the record for sure. You guys, thank you so much. This has been a blast.
Thank you too.
Thank
Yeah,
you, Scott.
Really,
Yes,
really hope to
that's
see
been
you in
great.
person one day soon.
that would be great, man. That would
Yeah.
be great. And yeah, if you have anything else, please, my door is always open, and I'd love to have you guys back.
Thank you so much.
Cool. Thank you
All
so
right.
much.
All right. Have a good one, you guys. Thank you.
You too.
Bye bye.
Bye-bye.
Bye
Thanks.
bye.